Hello and welcome to our coverage of the 5th edition of the Gravel and Tar Classic, raced within the scenic Manawatu region of New Zealand. Sport and outdoor pursuits are an important part of our region's identity. Situated between the west coast and the rugged Ruahine Ranges, it is known for its multitude of recreational opportunities. Palmerston North proudly hosts many national and international events. The Gravel and Tar Classic has cemented itself within the international road cycling calendar and has become known as one of the toughest one-day races in the world. Starting in the award-winning town of Fielding, an agricultural hub known as the home of one of the biggest stock trading centres in New Zealand. The Gravel and Tar always enjoys a warm welcome from the locals of this beautiful colonial town. The 2020 event takes in the lush and green farmland of the Manawatu, the winding gravel roads of the Pohongona watersheds, and the fertile Manawatu River Plains, once again finishing in the region centre, Palmerston North. So sit back and enjoy the energy and spectacle of the 2020 Gravel and Tar Classic.
And they're off. This is the start of the Gravel and Tar Classic 2020. We've got a field of about 72 starters, 12 teams of 6, just crossing the railway lines. It's going to be neutralised for a while. The course is a little bit different to last year. It's a bit longer. There's a bit more bitumen between the gravel sectors. The gravel sectors, though, are the same. So the two teams to beat here, I think, are the newly formed UCI Black Spoke team and also Memel Cycling, registered in Sweden. You can see here they're turning into Farrazon Road. The start's going to be soon when the Chief Commissaire drops the flag. It's a beautiful day in Fielding. You can see they've just started now. The men, usually we see some attacks right from the gun, and true to form, here you go. Here's the first attack of the day. I don't expect this is going to stay away very long, but let's see what happens. And the front runner here, I can't quite see who it is, but they're going to be joined pretty soon by a couple of riders from Oliver's and a Cabjacks rider. There's a small group just forming off the front. Riders trying to get across. A couple of riders dangling off the back, not long to the first gravel sector now. It's splintered a little bit at the front. I don't expect this is going to really show us what the race is going to be like. And on to the first gravel sector at Junction Road. You can see the bunch is already stringing out, and if you look back, there's some riders that are way, way behind. I suspect there's probably been a crash somewhere. These little climbs up Junction Road really weed out the bunch. Those that can stay in the seat and climb the gravel, pick their line, are at a great advantage. The field will split, but the long sectors on the bitumen after this, I'm expecting much of the race to come back together. Glenn Haddon, you can see there in front, he's almost podiumed every time. He's going to be pushing the pace. And they come over the top, peak of the Junction Road. There's a little bit of downhill. They've got to be careful on these downhill sections in gravel. That's where good bike handling skills are going to be really important. Not a lot of wind at this stage. I'm expecting the wind to pick up a little bit later. It's coming from the west, so towards the latter stages of the race. So we've got two riders off the front, Chen Liang Cha from Memel and Ethan Batt from Black Spoke. They're taking a hard left here off the main road, dropping down into Beaconsfield. There's a sprint at Beaconsfield Hall. Be interesting to see what happens.
The Taiwanese rider there, Xianglin Chen, he's pretty experienced. He's been riding with the Conti team since 2012, and he was 6th in the New Zealand Cycle Classic last week.
And the sprint's only a couple of 100 metres away. It's a little bit of an uphill before the sprint. And yeah, they're going to contest it. I thought they might have thought amongst themselves and decided who was going to win, but they're really having a real go at it here. And it's the Taiwanese rider who gets the money. They've got to get back together now. They've got a good lead, and they need to try and keep that until at least they get onto this second gravel sector. They're working well together.
Well, Steve, with these two riders away from two of the strongest teams, it'd be interesting to know what's going on back in the peloton, because Oliver's have got a reasonable team, and so have the Cabjacks boys, and they'll be keen to get across. So maybe they'll be working together and chasing them down.
And now the two front runners are entering the second gravel sector. The bunch has caught them up a bit. They might even gobble them up before the end of this 4 kilometre bit of dirt. Well, it's a different two on the front now. Still Memel, still Black Spoke, but it's Hayden McCormick and Elliot Schultz.
Elliot Schultz has only just signed with Memel Pro. He's only a young rider, he's still 19, but he's spent the last 2 years racing in France and Italy, so he's gained a bit of international experience. This would be a really good race for him to win.
You can see the car coming up there providing a water bottle. This is a race not only of attrition, it's a race of nutrition. You've got to keep that fluid going, you've got to keep that carbo going in.
We've got 37 volunteer marshals out on the course today, and that would have to be one of our most high-profile ones, Helen Warboys, Mayor of Manawatu District.
And we're on to the start of the third gravel sector. It goes down a little bit and then the hill starts. Here's the second group. Some good riders in that group. My feeling is they're going to catch those front two. And the main peloton behind. And there's Finn Fisher Black riding for Jumbo this year. He's trying to get away from that rear group. And if anyone can do it, he can. At the top of the Coulters Road climb, McCormick and Schultz had 3 minutes on the main peloton. It looks like they've held that gap. Somewhere in between is that chase group of 5. There's the main bunch winding its way along Ridge Road. Right-hand turn coming up into Taunui Road. The bitumen starts again soon. If you get onto the bitumen first here, you're at a great advantage, and these two have got a good gap. 2 still away, still about 3 minutes to the main peloton. Going along Valley Road here, they're going to hit the 4th gravel sector. Now, if they can hold this gap, this is the race. Oh, look, Schultz has punctured and McCormick's on his own now. Poor old Schultz. There's the main group. They've caught that chasing group of 5. McCormick's out front. Just past 20k to go here. It's still going to be hard for McCormick to keep that gap. He looks like he's got a bit between his teeth though. Now it's downhill into Ashurst and then along the river path. The group behind seems pretty organised, but Hayden's a strong rider. Let's just see what happens. And that bigger group's now split to 5, and I can see that it's got Luke Mudgeway in there. Mudgeway was last year's winner. Now, if it comes down to a sprint, Mudgeway's going to be really hard to beat. Along the river path, McCormick's still got a big gap. This is the point at which 2 years ago, McCormick in the front group punctured. He's going to be praying that he gets through this without a puncture. Through the Higgins gravel pit, here comes one of the chasing groups. This is the second group. He's not going to get caught. In fact, he's put time into the chasing group. This is McCormick. This is the one he wanted to win. It sets him up for the season. Black Spoke are going to be really pleased. It's the first big win for the newly formed Black Spoke UCI Continental team. Well done, Hayden. Here's the sprint for second. It's Mudgeway and Volkers. Can Volkers get on top of him? Nah, Mudgeway's got that. And so Mudgeway's going to be on the podium for the second time. And a great ride from Sam Volkers, the Australian, riding for Memel to get third. What did you think of the course? Was it one of the toughest races you've done?
Yeah, it was. Obviously the gravel makes it challenging, but it's also quite undulating all day. So it makes it quite hard to sort of go easy at any point. But Yeah, it was a hard race, especially this early on in the season, so it was nice to get through and get a podium.
How'd you find it this year, Luke?
Yeah, really hard. But yeah, it was such an epic race. I mean, Hayden was on another level today.
Hayden, I just quickly want to ask you, this is Black Spoke's second outing. What does it mean to you to be riding for a UCI New Zealand-based team?
Yeah, New Zealand's needed something for quite a long time actually. So when Scott Guyton called me up, it was obviously any decision's sort of a tough one when it's your career, but after I thought about it for a while, it was definitely the right one, and just having good equipment and good organisation and stuff like that really helps. And then it's an awesome second race to kick off the season.